Cd14 Life Coaching with Starmaze. The Sacred Council, 14 out of 32. The guiding force of Starmaze. Starmaze, the guiding force of the conditioned mind, associations, and non-audible communication. Stay aware of your limited and conditioned realities. I am Starmaze, keeper of the sixth dimension, representing the power of the conditioned mind, association, and non-audible communication. I am your connections to all non-audible energy waves, such as your thoughts, dreams, wishes, satellites, cell phones, radio, TV, computer waves, and much more. You know me also as you, the one you look at in the mirror, the one you associate with, and who is always busy thinking. I am the one like you like and you do not like, the joy and sorrow, formed by your own thinking. Quote, we are formed and molded by our thoughts. Those whose minds are shaped by selfless thought give joy when they speak or act. Joy follows them like a shadow that never leaves them. Buddha. End of quote. I am the keeper of association, which is your connection to your limited and conditioned realities within your mind, created by yourself through association. Your personal limited and conditioned mind, which has all your personal data, is recorded through the sense organs, functioning as its keyboard. At the moment you identify, which takes place through association and giving names and connecting feelings and emotion to the things you sense, see, touch, taste, hear, and smell, you create an association and attachment to them, and they become your personal reality. This is your limited source of thinking and experiencing life. It is for this reason I am also called the keeper of the conditioned mind. Quote, what we think determines what happens to us, so if we want to change our life, we need to stretch our minds. Wayne Dyer. End of quote. Realize that most of the time you are connected to your limited and conditioned realities within your mind, which is like your familiar shopping center. All these realities are conditioned through association, and you address this as I know. It is all the things you learned from childhood on, and all the things that have been given a name. It is your familiar world, your personal library of everything you think you know. Quote, I think, and that is all I am. Wayne Dyer. End of quote. You created your web of associations and attachments. Everything to be experienced in Crystallia was stored in the phenomena called the universal mind computer, in which there are endless files of objects to be experienced, files of thoughts, words, and things, and files of sensations and emotions. Losing the control over your sense organs, you started to want certain experience back again, and others you tried to avoid, but in the process, you started to associate objects with words and emotions. Everything that happens in your life is a reaction of all these conditionings, attachments, and associations. And through my energy, you register them, discriminate them, and according to your conditionings, execute them. This becomes then the reality you live in. Quote, what we think we become. Buddha. The older you become, the more complex the game of associations becomes, because there have been endless things that happened and anything can become exhausting or irritating. Maybe that's why people's brain just starts malfunctioning, just as many become deaf because they do not want to hear anything anymore, or become blind because they don't want to see it anymore. Maybe you should all get back to a simple life when getting older, instead of getting trapped with all these painful and negative reactions. Quote, "A happy life consists in tranquility of mind." Cicero. End of quote. Because of this capacity to discriminate, you basically judge everything by holding your thumb up or down. You play God on earth. Realize that Kandu, the creator of all, doesn't judge anything, but you judge everything, including yourself, and speak the verdict out, not knowing that you will have to repent for them. It is as if you take on the realities like garments, which you have to wear. In fact, they are garments which you pick up from one of the castles of garments in the Plains of Dreams, located in the lower crystal kingdom. Quote, "Judge not, that you will not be judged, for with that judgment you judge, ye shall be judged." Matthew 7:1. End of quote. So be careful for what you are shopping for, because that will be the reality you non-audibly communicate to yourself, your body, others, and the world. When you are aware of this phenomena, choose for the more positive realities you have created, and when your conditionings overpower you, always know that you can take a different perspective. But this can only take place when you accept your conditionings, and when you do not take them for real. Quote, "That happens to the body with which it is associated, with which it mixes. The delusion that the body is the core, that the body is real, that verily is the death." Sri Satya Sai Baba. End of quote. My main energy location is at an invisible dimension right between your two physical eyes, and in the human body I operate through the brain and sending through the network of nerves all information coming from the mind to every cell of your body. From my level of consciousness, you can experience to be concentrated, focused, and clear, and non-verbally communicate within your own limited and conditioned mind, with every cell of your being, others, and the world. It is also through my energy that everything in creation non-verbally communicates with you and with each other, either through form, shape, color, temperature, and scent. I have to remind you that the mind was created as a communication device for the soul in order to experience creation, and the body was the vehicle to drive around with. When your sense organs started to take over the adventure, you threw the soul in the trunk of the vehicle, and your ego, which is identifying with the mind and the creation, took over the driver's place. Now you take yourself and this world for real. Quote, "When a dove begins to associate with crows, its feathers remain white, but its heart grows black." German proverb. End of quote. Everything was meant to be a one-time experience, but you wanted to create security, and let's see how you did this. Every thought and everything in creation which is stored in the universal hard drive of your mind, universal mind, all have a single track or single file, so to speak. You couldn't leave it as it was, but needed to make it all more real for security reasons, and you started to make a connection between visual experiences, tastes, sounds, and giving them names. The lemon, which had no name, and was an experience of color, form, and taste, became a reality. People, things, feelings, sound, and taste all got a name, and then you created a stronger connection with them, which is called attachment, because you attach them together. Quote, "Habits of thought persist through the centuries, and while a healthy brain may reject the doctrine it no longer believes, It will continue to feel the same sentiments formerly associated with that doctrine. Charlotte Perkins Gilman. End of quote. All this was done through the capacity called association. I am the keeper of the capacity of association. Since childhood, you all have teachers around you training you in associating by giving things names. In other words, you started to combine the single tracks and single files and thus creating additional tracks and files, which is the makeup of the reality or security for you where you live in now. This is your limited and conditioned mind reality. Well done. And now you only shop in the shopping center for familiar things, which makes the experience even less adventurous. Know, however, that you have the power of concentration that can help you at least to set priorities, for I am as well the keeper of the power of concentration. When you are not concentrated and focused, everything in your familiar mind reality is like looking at a scattered mirror and being lost in the shopping center itself. There are 9 openings or doors in your human body. The 2 lower apertures, the 2 nostrils, the 2 eyes, the 2 ears and 1 mouth, through which all your energy escapes into the external world. And then there is 1 invisible door leading within. Quote, meditation means trying to hold our attention at the eye center and not let it come down to the senses. That is concentration, to keep the mind steady at the eye center and not to let it come down. Hazur Maharaj Charan Singh Ji. End of quote. This door is located in between your 2 physical eyes, also called the third eye, and is the door inside your mind, in which you can get some organization. The worlds outside these doors are the same as all the realities behind the endless doors of your mind shopping center. Walking in the outside world, just like going with your thoughts inside your mind, it is not easy, as it takes you in all directions and sidetracking you. Actually, when you're not organized and focused, they organize your life. Quote, the key is not to prioritize what is on your schedule, but to schedule your priorities. Stephen R. Covey. End of quote. In order to become the master of your own mind, you must first know how the mind computer functions. You must become aware that most of the time you are just connecting with a very limited part of it, which is based on the recording of all the associations you have conditioned. Your non-audible communication within your own mind, with yourself, your body, others and the world, is mostly about the realities you are familiar with. This is your 24-hour personal shopping center. Quote, humanity is entangled with matter and does not even study the mind, not to mention the sound current or the spirit behind the mind. Maharaj Sawan Singh. End of quote. You must know that when you could stop shopping and communicating with these realities within your limited and conditioned mind, that you could also shop in a universal shopping center, in which you have not established yet your associations, but in which you can also get lost again. This is the world of another guide called Spheron. Most of you enter the universal shopping center by accident, like many inventors did, and very few are able to do this through concentration and meditation. Quote, the purity of mind expresses itself first in clear thinking, then in inspiration and in intuition. Maharaj Sawan Singh. End of quote. Then there is something I forgot to tell you, that when you leave the shopping center of your mind, and having even focused what you want, that it might happen, unfortunately much later in life or not at all. You think you have control. Maybe certain things maybe are not meant to be for you, or even saving you from worse, or they would sidetrack you even more by not accepting what you are now and what you have now. You really have to be sharp in the mind shopping maze and having your priorities and basic needs in the right place and staying concentrated, and without being content, it will be very hard. My maze is a maze you can get lost in even without realizing it and just taking it all for real. You think that the mind and the shopping center is your gold mine. Everything is impermanent, and nothing I can offer will bring you real happiness and peace. You are afraid of silence and solitude and keep on shopping, even while you're asleep. Quote, solitude is such a potential thing. We hear voices in solitude. We never hear in the hurry and the turmoil of life. We receive counsel and comforts we get under no other condition. Amelia E. Barr. End of quote. The only thing I know, at least, when you want to get out of this narrow-minded experience, and even getting out of the experience of the mind altogether, it is to associate yourself with the real you and with Kandu. And for that, you need to associate yourself with a teacher and teachings associated with Kandu and giving you a real association. I can easily tell you all of this because few of you will do the search, and even fewer of you will take up the training of that real association. You rather keep on shopping in the mind and its reflection, the world. Quote, the training of the mind, like the training of a horse, or like the training of a child in making them useful, is a slow affair. It is a lifelong work. Slow and steady wins the race. Maharaj Sawan Singh. I am just like you and anything else in creation, a creation of opposites. When you fail to tune into my positive side, you lose your priorities, concentration, focus and clarity, and get easily lost in your limited and conditioned shopping center. It is my task to keep you in your limited and conditioned realities, through which you will lose complete access to the information of the universal mind and to go beyond. At this point, you lose the ability to live in harmony with nature and non-verbally miscommunicate with yourself, others and the world. Quote, success is only another form of failure if we forget what our priorities should be. Harry Lloyd. End of quote. Through my energy, you keep yourself busy within your mind, which is like a maze, an endless shopping center or theater with endless characters, masks and faces, offering endless limited and conditioned experiences. You keep up the training of associating and stay busy inside the creation, and it will not stop. Until you want to get out and until someone who has escaped shows up in your life and giving you the way out. Find someone who is successful in this, but be careful as there are many agents of Kalimobanko, the power of distraction and tricking you. Quote, let the body become senseless, but hold your consciousness at the focus. Becoming unconscious of the lower world, but fully conscious of all that is going on at the focus. Maharaj Sawan Singh, end of quote. I am the guiding force and regarding matters of non-verbal communication and non-verbally miscommunication, nature's communication and man-made communication waves. Unconditioned realities or conditioned realities. Open for the unfamiliar, sticking to the familiar. Acceptance of conditioned realities or the judgment of conditioned realities. Focused and clear or scattered and unclear. Having your priorities in order or poor management of your priorities. Experiencing emotions or connecting your emotions to the things of the world. Having an open mind or being close-minded. Realizing the illusion or taking the world for real. Guarding your dreams and wishes or getting lost in dreams and wishes. Realizing the price and obligations within everything or playing ignorant. Making peace with all your characters or being at war with them. Realizing the duality experiences and falling down into negative passions. Thoughts are coming through you or thoughts are from me. Starmaze. Knowing me and knowing what to do with me. Let's see how you unnecessarily struggle with my force in various aspects of your life. How you could change your perspective and even make some practical changes. There are endless words that can be connected to any subject, and each subject can have many books because each subject can be approached from various perspectives or angles. Most important is not to forget that all that is said or written is merely an opinion, a truth and not the truth, because the spoken and written word is part of the creative world, created in opposites, constantly changing and bound to time, and there is always much more than can be said or written about any subject. Regarding me and the Sacred Council members talking about any subject, know that this understanding applies to that information as well. The information is from our particular point of view and brought to you through the world of visionary and mystical fiction. But hopefully it contributes to your life and assists you to experience life in a more conscious, mystical and magical way. By hearing or reading this information, you will come to the conclusion that you know this already, and you do, because this is part of your universal and spiritual inheritance. And often, we just need one word or sentence that inspires and motivates us to do things differently, or to think about a certain subject from a different perspective. Dealing with your real self, the soul. In regards to spiritual living, you have to regard anything that can be desired in the shopping center of the mind as your roadblock to achieve spirituality. The only desire that can be there is to go beyond the realm of mind and matter, and the only way to accomplish this is to leave all worldly matters behind. You cannot have both. Stay clear and focused in your spiritual practice. Close all the doors inside your body that are the entrances to the outside world. Close all the doors within the shopping center of the mind and just sit and wait for that secret door to open that will allow you to go beyond. Quote, "He who has to give you all is sitting inside in the third eye. He is simply waiting for the cleanliness of your mind and is watching your every action." Maharaj Sawan Singh, end of quote. You associate with your soul, which connects you to your spiritual inheritance, or you associate with the mind, which associates through the sense organs with the body and creation, connecting you to your limited and conditioned inheritance and very little life reality. Quote, "While the mind derives its life force and energy from the soul, it is at the same time does everything possible to suffocate the soul." Maharaj Sawan Singh, end of quote. The first stage of meditation and silent prayer are essential to help you to get concentrated and focused, for clear thinking and to set your priorities in the realm of your conditioned association, and it helps you to deal better with them. Gather all scattered energies at the point in between the two physical eyes. Quote, meditation means trying to hold our attention at the eye center and to not let it come down to the senses. That is concentration, to keep the mind steady at the eye center and not let it come down. Huzur Maharaj Charan Singh Ji, end of quote. Seek to go beyond the limited and conditioned mind into the universal mind and get access to the hard drive which has all memory and all knowledge concerning the creation. But realize that all information connected to the mind is very limited compared to your spiritual knowledge. And for this, you need to seek a master, a teacher, and path through which you can accomplish this. Dealing with your mind. In regards to managing and dealing with the mind, know that everything you experience is based on your own recorded conditionings. The mind just reacts like a robot. Everything you think, say, and do takes place within a very limited reality, not a universal and not a spiritual reality. Realize that even the choices you make are just coming forth from your conditionings. Are you really free? You are bound to conditioned actions, reactions, thoughts, wishes, feelings, tastes, smells, and many others. On this level of the mind, you are just connected to the familiar realities within your own mind, and there you feel safe. It is like playing the same computer program which were just for you to experience once in order to experience the next. You try to feel safe with and in the familiar. In addition to all these recordings, you added to each experience a feeling or emotion, which as well was just meant to be a one-time experience and not to get addicted to. Thus, you created an endless web of associations, and on top of it all, you created so many programs that are now communicating with each other. And this hard drive has gotten a mind of its own, so to speak. This is your ego, through which you judge the familiar world inside yourself and around you. Maybe it's time to step out of the shopping center of familiar realities and to open yourself up to the realities of the universal mind, or go even further in order to find out about the real you in that real world which lasts forever. Quote, it is not that we do not have any free will, but we have a conditioned free will. Huzur Maharaj Charan Singh Ji. Open your eyes, see things for what they really are, thereby sparing yourself the pain of false attachments and avoidable devastation. Epictetus. End of quotes. Dealing with your body. In regards to dealing with your physical body, know that it is a composition of all material substances, but the ether substance reveals itself predominantly as communication that at this center location is the communication that takes non-audible place within your own mind. It is from here that every thought enters your brain and communicates through the nervous system to every cell of your body, affecting them in a positive or negative way. Every part of your body and sensation is conditioned through association. You look at a part of yourself and instantly there is something connected, either positive or negative. Everything you feel, see, hear, touch, taste, and smell is already connected by association, and it's like a reflex, but know that it is conditioned, and that you can redirect and connect to something different and more positive. Get your body to sit actively in stillness and learn to become quiet, so you can see what all is going on and what your mind wants to do, and get a grip on things. Realize that your body just reacts to what it is conditioned to, and become stronger by redirecting the responses. Quote, logic will get you from A to B. Imagination will take you everywhere. Albert Einstein. End of quote. Dealing with communication. In regards to communication, stay aware that all spoken is just the product of your upbringing and experience during your life. Quote, our life always expresses the result of our dominant thoughts. Soren Kierkegaard. End of quote. Have an open mind to what others have to say without judging them. Stay clear and focused before and during your conversations. Leave your negative emotions out of your conversations. Learn to pause before you say anything or respond to anything. Stop being a robot. Communicate more with God on the inside, or just learn to sit still in the waiting room. Quote, be careful of your thoughts. They may become words at any moment. Ira Gosson. End of quote. Communication, when non-verbal possible, can also be achieved with the pen, and oftentimes thoughts do not need to be shared, but just written off. Writing can be used to get certain things just out of your system. However, the pen can also be used to express beautiful things by writing songs and stories and poetry. Quote, the pen is the tongue of the mind. Miguel de Cervantes. End of quote. Dealing with food. In regards to dealing with nutrition, realize that through the power of reason, you can come to a lot of conclusions regarding nutrition, but know that you are still working within the range of your conditionings and thus limitations. To have an open mind to new ways of nutrition is much more difficult because you have to break away from the familiar. But it is in the unfamiliar and the void where adventure is. It is probably wiser to just study nature instead of the knowledge of man. Through the power of concentration and focus, you can take yourself out of the scattered energy of life, inside your mind and around you, and devote all your energy to the digestion of the foods you're consuming. To assist your digestive system even more, you can go for some time on a single food adventure, where each meal consists only about one food. Just enjoy an orange meal, just some nuts and chew them well, just some apples or watermelon and go on. This will give you more clarity and focus. Foods talk to you in various ways, because they have a taste, a color, a special shape and smell, and of course, how they are presented on your plate. Be mindful, however, of your thoughts in regards to foods, because the mind can trick you in every way possible, and know that many foods you are conditioned to have an association created in the past with feelings. Foods are for the nourishment of your body and not to nourish your feelings, although you can do that as well, and which has a different purpose. Is life mainly about eating and drinking? It seems that way, when you would look at the time you spend in shopping, food preparation and eating. The world within your mind is an endless shopping center with endless foods that present themselves in the outside world, but you only shop and eat familiar items. But what about different and new foods and possibly adapting a different lifestyle with more vital and healthier foods and drinks? Quote, freedom is not procured by a full enjoyment of what is desired, but by controlling the desire. Epictetus. End of quote. Dealing with staying fit. In regards to fitness, know that you can use exercising to get more clear and focused. In order to stay or become focused, which you all need, you need to train the mind through concentration exercises, as your mind is like a wild monkey, scattered and going all over the place. Being in touch with your muscles will give you a better workout and faster results. Do not count, but feel. Make an active connection between the brain and the muscle while exercising and create a different and healthy association. Quote, "Our life is composed greatly from dreams, from the unconsciousness, and they must be brought into connection with action. They must be woven together." Anis Nin. End of quote. Dealing with your life partner. In regards to your relationship, realize that a healthy relationship is about positive thoughts that fill each other and the space you share. It is a close relationship. You can sense and feel things without having to use words. So stay on guard what you think and send out. You are both two unique individuals, and each one has his or her own way of experiencing this world and each other, as everybody comes from different backgrounds and conditionings. There are endless realities within your mind. Quote, "To effectively communicate, we must realize that all we are different in the way we perceive the world, and use this understanding as a guide to our communication with others." Anthony Robbins. End of quote. Be careful not to get trapped in negative associations with your physical condition, for they look like fixed pictures in a frame, and you have to deal with them. Dealing with your children. In regards to parenting, explain children as much as possible in regards to the mind, what it is and how it functions. Possibly explaining that the mind is like a huge shopping center in which you can find anything you can come up with. Make them aware about the consequences when shopping in the mind, and know that they will have a mind of their own. Quote, "Children must be taught how to think, not what to think." Margaret Mead. Do not indoctrinate your children. Teach them how to think for themselves, how to evaluate evidence, and how to disagree with you. Richard Dawkins. End of quote. Explain that the mind is of a great use in order to function in the world, but it can also be very destructive. Visualize that the mind is like a wild monkey running all over the place, and that it takes a lot to tame it in order to have some peace, being clear and focused. Explain them that all what they need to learn in life is already within sight of this mind, and that through the right circumstances and the right guides, all information comes to the surface, to then be repeated until satisfaction. Dealing with preserving the planet. In regards to taking care of the planet Earth, protect yourself from too many electromagnetic energy interferences, which create tremendous stress on your mind, brain and body. Use all communication devices as minimum as possible. Turn them off when not in use, unplug them, and have energy protector devices on all of them, and also use area energy protectors. Make a small study on what is happening to your environment and yourself through the increasing EMFs and take action. Quote, "We know what a person thinks, not when he tells us what he thinks, but by his actions." Isaac Bashevis. End of quote. Dealing with the teenage years. In regards to the teenage years, know that rebelling at the teenage years is just another program in the reality of mind and matter. A program you either become slave of or you start taking charge of it. All your ways of looking at life are programmed within your mind and are a result of your entire past through which you conditioned these programs. They are your conditioned and limited way of experiencing life, and through which you judge yourself, others, and the world. Know, however, that you can reprogram anything, and know as well that there are endless new realities you haven't discovered yet. So you either stay with the old stuff or start working with something different. Quote, "Insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, but expecting different results." Albert Einstein, end of quote. Dealing with getting older. In regards to dealing with getting older, hopefully the older you become, the more evidence you have that thoughts are just as more powerful than words, and that you can help yourself, others, and the world better with the most positive thoughts. Hopefully you have realized that the greatest enemy is yourself, your mind, and that most struggles are within yourself. The closer you get to the end of your physical life, the more you possibly want to communicate with your Creator and preparing yourself for the next journey. You have associated yourself with the things of the world, which you will have to leave behind. Associate more with the real self, the soul, and the Creator. Maturing is a present that, when done with wisdom, vibrates from within you, and it speaks for itself. Be more alone, as you came alone and will depart alone. Quote, "You cannot be lonely if you like the person you are alone with." Wayne Dyer, end of quote. Dealing with stress. In regards to dealing with stress, know that being too much in your mind and head creates tremendous stress and disconnects you from keeping an eye on your body. You are associating with that reality but forgetting to connect with the body and other things, and slowly things are happening that will give you even more stress. Let's be careful. When you are sending out bad vibes, although they are not spoken, they show in the eyes, face, and through body language. There is not too much you can hide. Negative actions, words, and also negative thoughts create great stress on yourself and others. Trying to think about too many things at the same time or wanting to find solutions too fast in your own head creates also an immense amount of stress. Worrying and coming up with fear-related subjects inside your mind doesn't help stress either. Know that you can even create stressful situations in the future inside your own mind. Dealing with the mind, which never stops being busy with things, is a job by itself. Let's keep in mind that the mind is like a shopping center or TV with endless channels, which is part of the adventure called life and creation. But don't forget that it is actually all just a dream, a movie, or an illusion, which you shouldn't take too serious, nor for real. Quote, "Focus 90% of your time on solutions and only 10% of your time on problems." Anthony J. Delangelo, end of quote. Protect yourself from too many electric-magnetic energy interferences, which create tremendous stress on your mind, brain, and body. Use all communication devices as minimum as possible. Turn them off when not in use, unplug them, and have energy protector devices on all of them, and also use area energy protectors. Dealing with weight. In regards to dealing with weight, know that weight is connected to many ways of inner miscommunication with oneself and judging various areas of the body or even the entire body. When you think ugly and are very negative, just close your eyes for a moment and feel how this feels and affects you. Every cell and part of your body is a child from your body, family, and you all know what happens in a family when the communication is not right. Realize that you speak with life, even without using words, but with your thoughts. The antidote is acceptance, positive communication, and implementing changes, but done with the aim of health and vitality, and not with punishment and for appearance only. Communicate with positive thoughts in connection to yourself and the world, and realize that there are other realities you can connect with within your mind. Give your body a fast, not with the aim of starving it, but giving it a break and letting the cleaning mechanism do its job, as it gets now more energy free from you not eating all these complex meals. It will give you more clarity about yourself and life. Disassociate from conditioned habits and start a new adventure. Quote, "The key to realizing a dream is to focus not on success, but significance. And then even the small steps and little victories along your path will take on greater meaning." Oprah Winfrey. End of quote. Keep an eye on what you're thinking and keep an open mind to whatever you hear. Communicate with your soul, which likes to adventure life in a healthy and fit body. Communicate also different in your relationship with food. It is the gentleness and love of your thoughts that affect the foods you consume. Altogether, it is about creating a different association with yourself and the world at large. It is only by a new association that we can dissociate with the old. Dealing with disease. In regards to dealing with disease, know that when you are confronted with signs, symptoms, and/or disease patterns, to send positive thoughts to that area of discomfort. All are living cells, listening to you as their parents. This is all about associating and a negative association that will bring a negative result. When you are confronted with signs, symptoms, and/or disease patterns, let understand that the body parts and systems, organs and cells are trying to communicate with you. They are asking for your attention and help. Be careful what you think about the body parts affected, because they are living cells listening to what you have to say and how you approach them. Search for different ways to assist yourself during the healing adventure. Go to other practitioners, go on the net and go for seminars. There is so much available than the things you are just familiar with. When you feel pain, get in touch and either go with your physical hands there or visualize your hands giving that area comfort. Stay aware that disease and how you think about it is one way and that there are endless other realities to connect with. Realities right within your own mind, ways of healing from within and from the outside. Quote, "When one door closes, another opens, but we often look so long and so regretfully upon the closed door that we do not see the other one has opened for us." Alexander Graham Bell. Dealing with emotions. In regards to dealing with emotions, realize that any emotion, positive or negative, is actually an experience by itself, but through conditionings now associated with things and faces and places and events. They have become part of your disempowerment because as long as you point out, you give your power away and keep on judging. All these places, faces and events associated with emotions have become your conditioned and limited realities. Accept and feel emotions by themselves and disconnect them from the faces, places, things and events. Quote, "We need only in cold blood to act as if the thing in question were real, and it will infallibly end by growing into such a connection with our life that it will become real." William James. End of quote. Dealing with business. In regards to dealing with your professional life, know that modern business life is like being inside an orchestra with endless communication devices all interfering, without you even seeing it, but they have a great effect on the peace of your mind and health, if you want to realize it or not. Realize that these inventions you have created to make your life easier are now your master, and you have become their slaves. Most of you cannot do without them, not even for an hour. The radio, the TV, the computer, the cell phones, and more. How you think about your business is also of importance, for how fast do you have unpleasant thoughts and judge it? Aren't the stress and struggle you encounter not yours? Who asked and wanted to have the business? And you all know that there is a great price to be paid in general. Family life and health suffers. It is a delicate matter how the boss and the staff think about each other as it affects the business. Everybody is part of the chain and equally important, although through economy reasons you may not have the same position and salary. When your self-esteem depends on your salary and position, you live on a thin ice. Quote, when we get too caught up in the busyness of the world, we lose connection with one another and ourselves. Jack Cornfield. End of quote. Dealing with destructive habits. In regards to dealing with destructive habits and addictions, know that all negative habits and addictions are just realities within your mind, and so are the positive ones. And it is just a matter with whom you want to connect and play with. Visualize your addictions as characters within you, all part of your team or family. Accept them all, for there is no delete button. It is getting the addictions characters into a healing protocol and then getting on with new things, still accepting your addictions in your team, but leaving them on the side bench. Your body cells and character teams or family is in need of a manager, and when you are under the influence of addictions, a manager cannot function. Get focused and become in charge again. Quote, only by acceptance of the past can you alter it. T.S. Eliot. End of quote. Dealing with studying. In regards to studying, try to stay clear why you are studying and stay focused, which is not easy as the mind can distract you in endless ways. But have an open mind to what others have to say, without judging them, and leave negative emotions out of the game. All knowledge in regards to the world of mind and matter is limited and transmitted in a conditioned way, which is the result of our conditioned past and thus also limited. So your knowledge and diplomas and degrees are about something very limited, as there is so much more you don't know. Learn ways to better concentrate, and one of these ways is through your spiritual practice, but do not fall there as well into intellectual debates. Quote, just as language has no longer anything in common with the thing it names, so the movements of most of the people who live in the city have lost their connection with the earth. They hang as if it were in the air, hover in all directions, and find no place where they can settle. Rainer Maria Rilke. End of quote. Dealing with friendships. In regards to friendships, watch out for judging with your thoughts when listening to your friends or by just being around them. Thoughts, although you cannot see them, you feel them, especially when there are negative thoughts and feelings being sent out. All is just a matter of opinion, and there is no need to judge each other. You are all conditioned by your past. Be careful with connecting negative associations to your friends because they become like a sticky glue. Quote, if we were faultless, we should not be so much annoyed by the defects of those with whom we associate. François Fenelon. End of quote. Summary Starmaze. Starmaze, the guiding force of non-audible communication. Most of you live in a very limited reality. Realize that your conditioned minds hold all the experiences connected to objects, places, faces, feelings, emotions, and situations, which you have given names. This is your personal and limited database. It is this information you think about and connect with while awake and asleep. It is your familiar world. I am Starmaze, representing the energy of all non-audible forms of communication, your thoughts, the endless realities within your mind, and the ability of association. I make you aware of the different ways of communication, such as color, shape, form, and sound. I will show you how to decrease the endless non-audible sound waves interfering with your health. I will be your guide to stay open-minded, focused, and setting your priorities. Hopefully, I can coach you to dissociate, to stop judging and to experience things for what they are, to open you up for the unfamiliar things but keep you aware that all is part of the world within your own mind. Summary. Observe the thoughts running through your mind first and do not react to them. Sort out your thoughts and set your priorities. Before you let any thought continue, ask first if it is true, necessary, and kind. Find a spiritual method to still the madness of all your thoughts. Realize that every thought, emotion, desire, and wish has a direct effect on your entire well-being and affecting different parts and organs of your body. Understand that each thought, idea, wish, and desire you wish to manifest has to go through an entire process. Then there is no need to judge your own thoughts and realities and that of others as well, because all we think is a reaction of our conditionings. Realize that you speak to endless characters being inside your mind and as well projecting themselves on the outside. Do not judge them. Learn to work with them, as you cannot throw any of them out. Understand that emotions are like thoughts, an experience, but when you connect them to others and things and places and events, that they will stay and come around with more intensity. Become clear and get focused. Realize that all the electrical energy devices are an additional interference to your clear thinking and well-being. Stay more focused and create some peace in the madness of all your thoughts and wishes and desires. In order to stay aware of the endless associations and limitations, prepare yourself for the day and how you're going to approach life, others and situations. And at the end of the day, write down your changes, how you handled things differently by having been exposed to the information about Starmaze. Affirmation. I humbly accept every life experience in whatever form it comes and realize the power of thoughts. I am clear and focused concerning my priorities with the endless possibilities of the mind and stay compassionate in the way I non-verbally communicate with myself, everything and everybody. Petrus.